All right, y'all. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you're tuning in. I'm grateful to have you here. And we got us a doozy today because brand new Speaker of the House, my man Mike Johnson, has released actual footage of J6 2021 after years of these dirty Dems and the leftist media deliberately lying to us about what actually went on that day. So I'm going to play a clip from Newsmax's Carl Higbee breaking it all down, and then I'll give my thoughts on the back end. Let's get it poppin'.
Dates that occupy not only a place on our calendars, but a place in our collective memory. December 7th, 1941, September 11th, 2001, and January 6th, 2021.
So that's actually not true. It's not even close, actually. It wasn't a violent insurrection, and it looks like there was more and more cattywampus afoot than partisan, morally bankrupt January 6th committee led us to believe.
Well, we go undercover as Antifa in a crowd, so can you put that back in? All right, thank you so much. Yep, it feels better. Did you guys get sprayed?
Well, also, here is one of the people arrested at the Capitol that apparently wasn't actually being arrested. They walked him to the door very nicely, took the cuffs off, fist bumped him, and let him go on his merry way. You know what was interesting, though, about that last exchange with him? Normally, when somebody is arrested, the first thing the cops do is they strip any face cover off the subject to identify him. Maybe take the helmet off, but they didn't do that. They left it on. Why? I got a few guesses myself. And we also still don't know how many people were undercover and why. It even appears that the FBI doesn't know either. Or at least they're maybe lying to us, or they just don't know. Either could be true. In fact, the chief of Capitol Police testified that he was also given no information on undercover agents and was advised not to respond to the January 6th.
We actually have evidence and records indicating plainclothes MPD officers were on Capitol grounds on January 6th. And you're saying you weren't aware that they would have embedded those officers within the crowd. They didn't make you aware of that?
No, sir, they did not make me aware of it. It's not unusual for agencies to have plainclothes units deployed around major events, but no, I was not made aware that they'd be on Capitol grounds.
Chief Son, since January 6, 2021, have you testified or been asked to testify publicly before a committee of the House of Representatives?
No, sir.
Did the January 6 Select Committee ask you to publicly testify before their committee?
No, sir.
Weird. The chief of the Capitol Police wasn't invited to speak before the January 6th committee? They also seem to fire some sort of either tear gas or smoke into the crowd that, from the looks of the video, which seems to be a pretty peaceful group with people standing there videotaping it. This begs the question, what came first, the tear gas or the pandemonium? Did one cause the other? We'll see. But I can tell you one thing. This level of force was not used again the other day against the pro-Hamas demonstrators or at the White House. It was unbelievable. So why was it used here January 6th? The other thing we're now seeing from these videos is that it's very little confrontation with the police, if any, is shown. So far, there doesn't seem to be anything more than a respectful interaction with the fuzz, and the crowd turns around when they were asked to leave. The one spot of violence, the one spot, was Ashley Babbitt, who was the only one killed on that day, by the way, shot by the same Capitol police officer who is still employed and 2 years prior had left his gun unattended in a bathroom. Lieutenant Mike Bird, this guy fired a weapon at an unarmed woman through a door with officers directly in his line of fire right behind him. I mean, as the video goes on, it appears that both law enforcement and the protesters worked together to attempt to save her life and evacuate her. From the video, which we won't show you because of how graphic it is, but it's freely available on the internet, and I encourage you to go watch it. The only ones yelling and swearing appear to be the police officers, not the protesters. We still haven't seen the other side of the footage from behind the shooter, whether or not confirmed lethal force was even actually needed. But from my vantage point, with a significant background in use of force, by the way, doesn't seem to meet the bar. I'm sure more will be made public in the coming days, though. But the real question is, why was this never released under McCarthy? What was he hiding? What deals did he make behind the scenes? Because if it was so simple that Mike Johnson could just release it in a matter of a few weeks after taking the speakership, Why didn't McCarthy do it in this 9-month tenure? You see why I never trusted him? We know the Democrats were ardently opposed to releasing the full tapes, obviously, probably for the exact same reason we're seeing now. It destroys their narrative completely. And the lengths that they went to lie, they deceived, they misled us on all the reason those tapes shouldn't be released should be carved into everyone's memory as a monument to never trusting Democrats again.
Donald Trump participated in each substantially and personally. He oversaw or directed the activity of those involved.
I want to be very clear. Those who perform these reprehensible acts cannot be called protesters. No, these were rioters and insurrectionists, goons and thugs, domestic terrorists.
On January 6th, Trump knew the crowd was angry. He knew the crowd was armed. He sent them to the Capitol anyway. You might imagine that our founders would have been shocked to learn that an American president would one day come to embrace and excuse political violence against our own institutions, or knowingly send an armed mob to attack the Capitol to usurp the will of the people.
Jamie Raskin went on to say that we can't release the tapes because it'll expose, intricate workings and the schematics of the Capitol building. Nice try, Jamie. You can go online and see a map of the Capitol. Hell, you can schedule a tour of the halls yourself. It was all a ploy to make Trump out to be the bad guy in an attempt to keep him from running for the White House again. We're seeing this in multiple states where they're trying to get him off the ballot, using it as if he was convicted. He wasn't even charged. But they conveniently always leave this part out.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
There have been more than 1,069 defendants charged. Sure, some people did some really stupid stuff that day. Not discounting that. But not 1,000 people, but some. I've reviewed as much of this video as I can since they started releasing it. And all it has done is counter the left's narrative. But the one thing that is absent right now, more than anything, is the footage and proof that there were 1,000 people attempting an insurrection. Because if there was, all these left-leaning groups would have been putting it on the front page right now, but it's not. It was very clearly not an insurrection. And from what I expect from Mike Johnson, haul every member of the January 6th committee, the FBI, the Capitol Police, everyone in front of Congress under oath and find out what they knew and when they knew it. Juxtapose every second of testimony against these tapes and get to the actual truth. Because if we don't make an example out of all the bad actors, they're going to continue to wield the power of government who threw what is becoming increasingly apparent, innocent people in jail. And this has got to stop right now.
Watch out now. Big bad Donald Trump and all his MAGA supporters, they'll get you. They're just such horrible people. We are just so bad. All we do is promote racism and bigotry, and we incited this all-out violent insurrection on J6 2021. It was so bad, in fact, that if you ask these clowns like cackling Kamala Harris, it'll serve as a place in our memory for the rest of our lives. That day, it was just as bad as Pearl Harbor and 9/11. Oh, really? Are you kidding me? Will it now? There were 2,400 people that died on December 7th, 1941, and there was around 3,000 people that were killed on that unforgettably sad day in 2001 when I was actually alive. And there were thousands more of our own brave men and women that later went on to die in the war when we went to Afghanistan. So I'm not here to argue about all the details behind that war and all the behind the scenes details of 9/11 that I've heard about, but there is literally no logical sort of connected brainstem sort of comparison that can be made between those dates and January 6th. You got to be off your rocker and have lost your mind. Those were actual catastrophic events in our history. This was not. This was a planned lie by dirty Democrats and sellout rhino Republicans. And the nerve of these people, it just absolutely blows my mind. And I hate how there's no more truth in justice, it seems like. Our government literally lies to us as American citizens on a daily basis. And we, the people, we let this crap happen. As long as we allow this uniparty to continue and these cowardly, conniving, self-serving rhinos like Liz Cheney showed that she was when she was a representative, as long as we continue to allow this stuff to unfold and just go unchecked, the longer we're going to keep on seeing this nation burn to the ground. That's just what it is. Some people might not like to hear that, but we are falling apart at the seams. And then on top of that, what used to be real journalism and reporters having integrity to report on the news, to stick to the facts, that seems like it doesn't even exist anymore. Now we got this lying media industrial complex that completely twists these isolated events, and they just promote this open propaganda, this facade of the truth to the masses. And a lot of people don't dive below surface level, so they get strung along buying into these headlines, and they never know what's really going on. They grasp on to the smoke and mirrors, not knowing what's going on behind the scenes.
What you're seeing behind me is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which were largely peaceful demonstrations in the face of law enforcement.
Oh no, nothing to see here. According to them, you didn't just see that cop car completely in flames. You didn't see that building down to the embers. You didn't see it completely crumbling and burnt down and looted. And you didn't see innocent business owners being harmed or having their lives completely uprooted thanks to Black Lives Matter and Antifa groups. Those were just peaceful protests. But the minute MAGA supporters gather together to do some protesting of their own and call out the fraudulent clown show of 2020 and election results and all of that, the minute they do that, liberal media deceivers, they'll go through all these hoops to try to make their audience think that what happened at the U.S. Capitol was some sort of violent combat zone. That's what they'll go 1,001 miles to do, to try to mislead you from what the actual truth is, from what actually played out on that day. There's no comparison, and it is ridiculous. This narrative has to stop. And just because you're an American-loving conservative does not mean you're a bigot, does not mean you're a bad person. Like, no. The bad people are Antifa and these dirty Dems, not us. And I'm tired of all of this garbage. And hopefully these videos will help with that. But then again, I doubt it, because I know how these leftists get down. I know they'll just continue to lie and do what they do best. And I'm calling it now. Just watch how YouTube feels the need to offer up this woke definition down below with this blue context box that tries to describe January 6th from a Wikipedia standpoint. And whatever I say, they're going to have something different to say about it. And it's just a shame how you can't buy into what is the perceived truth. You always have to pry back the layers and to try to explore what really could be going on. Because if the media is saying this, I'm not saying all media, but the majority of the time, if they're saying this, if they want you to know this, what is it really? What actually happened in that scenario? But somehow, some way, we do need to find a way to free all these nonviolent January 6th political prisoners, because that just ain't right. And it's disgusting what they're doing to those people. And there has to be some accountability somewhere along the way for these acts of political deception. Seriously. And I think a lot of people on this oversight committee should be in jail, especially the Democrats. But I know Republicans ain't innocent either, because there's a lot of them that are fake Republicans, rhinos, Republican in name only, that they serve the exact same false god that Democrats do, self. But let me calm down, because I'm not sure how all of this here on earth plays out in full, but I trust in the Almighty's game plan, and I know where I'm going when Christ returns. So if you don't know where you're going, if you haven't repented of your sins and started to follow Jesus down that narrow path of righteousness and turn from these wicked ways like this open rebellion that these people are promoting, it's going to be a very hot, painful, and damning ending to your story. And I don't want that for anybody. So I love all of these people, but it's time to come on over here. It's time to put that dark lifestyle down. Stop worshiping self, worshiping power and money and all of this idolatry. Put it down, fix your eyes on the kingdom, and get right with the Lord, because every day that I see, it's looking a whole lot more and more like the heavens are going to open and that white horse is going to be making an appearance real soon. And I can't wait for it. But what do y'all think about all this? Do you think J6 was anything close to as bad as the media makes it seem in some arenas? Or what do y'all think? Drop a comment down below. Let's keep this conversation rolling. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already, ring that notification bell so you get notified anytime I post a new video. If you like what I'm doing over here and you want to show a little extra love and support, make sure you go check out our website down below in the description section. That way you can get all the awesome shirts you see me wearing in every single video. They're all made by my beautiful wife. This one says created with a purpose. It has it it on the chest and on the sleeve. It's based on Ephesians 2 verse 10. I like mine a little baggy, so it seems a little extra room to move and groove, but we got all different sizes ranging from itty bitty extra small to big and hefty 5X, a bunch of colors, different designs, all of that. I'm sure you can find something that you like or a great gift for someone that you love. Outside of that, you can always join the Gibson family here on YouTube and become a member. You can buy me a coffee. You can join the Patreon family. All those links are down below as well. By no means do you have to do any of that. Just showing up and allowing my freckle face to rant at you for a few minutes. I am greatly appreciative. I love y'all. I cannot thank you enough. Until next time, I'll be praying for you. Godspeed. I'm gone.